Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Getting Creative With, the show where AADL staff engage with an arbitrarily chosen topic to stay playful, stay inspired, and creative. My name is Ksenia, and with me today are Aurora, Mackenzie, Christopher, and Haley. And this week's theme is Translucence. So Aurora, you are up first. What did you come up with for this very strange and ephemeral theme?
Well, I thought about translucent. First, I thought was transparent, and then I thought that I was gonna make something out of the leaf that you have, in the backyard. I was gonna soak it the natural way without any chemical to make a leaf skeleton to make it transparent, sort of. I didn't have very much luck trying to scrape some of it, as you can see. I tried different type of leaf and I put it in a jar for about 4 or 5 weeks. And then afterward, I try to scrape off the skin so that you could kind of see the skeleton of it. And then I want to do something with it, but I wasn't have much luck of producing enough. So I kind of cheated a little bit. I went to bought some skeleton leaf. With the Mod Podge, I made into translucent kind of bow with the leaf, and I add some of the one that I made, but not totally come through. And also, as I laid the Mod Podge, I put a little color in it because the leaf doesn't have any colors, so to speak. So that's my translucent, and allow the lights in, but at the same time, still retain the leaves.
That's really cool. How did you get the shape? Did you use like another bowl to kind of mold it?
Yeah, I have to because it's pretty flimsy, and so I have to put saran wrap on one of the bowl and spray some oil so that I could, as I not polish the leaves, I have the shape there and I could get it out afterward.
Cool.
Gosh, it's beautiful. The details captured are just stunning.
Yeah.
What did you use to color it with? What dye?
I just used paint. I thinned it out with the Mod Podge so that it's not so thick. So as I lay the Mod Podge down, I thinned it out, the paint with it, so that I could have a little touch of color, but at the same time, not over too powerful, the object.
Yeah, that's...
What, Christopher?
There we go. Can you go back to talking about how you were taking the material out of a leaf?
So I read somewhere you could use chemical, but I want to do it the natural way. And one of the sites said you could just soak the leaf when it fell down and in a jar and let it sit for 4 or 5 weeks. And then you take it back out. And then you gently brush it with a very soft toothbrush.
Wow.
And then they recommend certain leaves. I think this one, I'm not sure, but they do recommend certain leaf is better job than certain ones. So I try all kinds because I have maple tree in my backyard. I have tulip tree. I have, what else? It's like various different kind. I tried it out. And like this is a maple one that I couldn't get it all out. And then I was impatient for it to dry. So I kind of put it in the oven. So that's why it's kind of curled up. But it was just kind of hard to, But I thought that was kind of neat way, to make a transparent kind of thing. Take the leaf and make it into a skeleton.
I mean, it looks like bone china to me from here, like just really, really fine, thin china. That's gorgeous. Any idea what you might be putting into your bowl yet?
No, because it's not that strong, and I didn't want to make it too thick. So have to be something really lightweight, because it's kind of stretchy, but it's not strong enough to hold.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. All right. Well, thank you for that. That is beautiful. And I love that you're still like you're using nature even as we enter into a season of sort of more barren, more barrenness outside. So that's very cool. All right. Mackie, what do you have?
Okay, so as everyone else knows, I baked. So I don't know if any of you saved your cookies or if you ate them right away. Okay. But I baked these. So the first batch that everyone else has had came out better than these. Than the second batch. I think if Christopher has it, he can show it. They came out much more cloud-like. These are Bespin cloud drops. So for some reason they flattened when I baked instead of keeping their sharp edges. I don't think I mixed them well enough. But yeah, they're basically a meringue cookie. The recipe for these I've been wanting to do for a while. It was in one of my cookbooks. It was a Star Wars cookbook. And yeah, they're made with egg whites. They're a very sweet tart meringue cookie essentially. It was fun watching the translucent eggs whites. That's how it ties to the theme. turn white and all puffy and become like clouds. If they had come out better, they would have looked like clouds more. But yeah.
Beautiful. Of all the weeks that I had to be out of town, it was the week with the cookie.
Yeah.
Maybe Mackie save you some when you come back.
Yeah, I can save you some. They save really well.
Yeah, meringues typically do. They're nice.
I have a whole tray full, so yeah, I can save you some.
So,
granted, well, they taste just like the other batch. They just, I don't know what happened.
And then, did you use a mold or anything like that for them, or just drop them on a?
Nope, I used a spoon, dropped them, and then I swirled them, and then I took a toothpick and a little bit of blue food coloring, and swirled that into the swirls in the hopes of giving it some color.
Gotcha.
To kind of define it. The recipe that I gave you calls for grenadine, but I switched out for cherry juice because the store was out of grenadine. Actually, it was out of all cocktail syrup, so it was fun trying to find a replacement. So they should taste kind of like cherries. They should have a very mild, tart taste to them, and that's the cherry juice.
Okay.
The one it was delicious.
I thought it's more like a lemon than cherries, but it was just such a kind of, it's pretty nice, refreshing.
So fun. I love that you thought of like translucent egg whites and then made meringue cookies. It's fantastic.
And they're called cloud drops.
It's so whimsical.
And my idea originated because I was trying to make cloud bread, but then I had to share it. And cloud bread, which is the same thing, but basically the same thing, but you make a mound of it and you bake it at a higher heat for less time, and it comes out like a bouncy sponge. And I just couldn't get it to not be sticky. Like it just would not work, and there was no way to share it without it deflating and then being a sticky mess. So I found these cloud drop cookies instead.
So where on earth did you get the recipe from? Was it a book or was it a website?
It was a book.
Okay.
It's the official Star Wars cookbook.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think I got it from Barnes and Noble, maybe. I'm pretty sure it's Barnes and Noble.
I wonder if we have it in the catalog. Gotta check.
I should check.
Do a plug for the library.
Yeah, let me see.
Nice. Well, cool. Well, I hope I get to
We
try.
do.
Oh, all right. You heard it here, guys. We have the official Star Wars cookbook at AADL.
We have the Star Wars cookbook BB-8, Awaken to the Force of Breakfast and Brunch. This is not the book I got my recipe from, But the Star Wars cookbook recipes are legit. They're really good. So I would definitely recommend you get this.
Hashtag I love our library. I love it. Oh, cool. I hope I get to try one day. That would be really fun. All right, Matthew, thank you for showing us what you did with the theme of translucence. You made it into a delicious treat.
Yay.
Christopher, what have you gotten for us this week?
I had a particularly hard time with this theme. I was getting suggestions from people, and then, as always, I left it to this morning, and I'd been thinking about it all night, and I had an idea when I woke up. Partly inspired by my cousin, who is a stained glass artist. I thought I would cut something out and put translucent tissue paper where I had cut out so that the light still came through. And I was thinking about using 2 or more different colors of tissue paper, but I really like the red. And this is one of my favorite designs, this sort of wavy medieval sun. I've always really liked that design. And as I was cutting it, I thought I would put a face in the middle. And so it's almost a moon sun. I'm not really sure, but I had fun putting it together once I figured out what I was doing.
Cool. So it's used as like a sun catcher type thing?
Yep, you could put it up in the window. You can't see because the clouds are in the sky right now, but the light does shine through where it's red.
Beautiful.
Because it's thin tissue paper. So.
Gorgeous.
That's really cool. Yeah.
How did you get the precise cutouts? Was it an X-Acto knife?
It was, and I was so nervous that this middle part is almost completely cut out, and it's barely there. Now it's stable with the glue for the tissue paper, but I was more worried about cutting my fingers off because I have to press really hard. This is fairly thick cardstock. It's from I think it's from a pad of paper or something. So I just pressed really hard to get through it and still have all 10 fingers. So I'm lucky.
Well, hey, that's a victory in itself. You are unmaimed and you have a project.
That's right.
Gorgeous. What did you said you used glue. Did you just use glue on the tissue paper on the back of the pad? How did you
I did. I just took a piece of scrap tissue paper. The only thing was I used a glue stick, and I thought I was pretty sparing with the glue, but I pressed the back down so much that the glue squirted out the front. And so I had to go in with the X-Acto blade and clean out all those tiny little bits of purple glue. Yeah, it's the perfectionist in me.
Art is a dangerous endeavor.
Yeah, you'll be able to see on the photos the light shining through the back. So,
I really like how it it might just be the contrast from like the paper and the tissue paper, but like I really like how that red is just so bright coming through. I bet it's like really, really noticeable when you have it up in the sunlight.
It is. And like I said, I thought about using different colors. I don't know if you can tell, I kind of cut out almost like a mosaic. Each ray here is cut in two, kind of like a mosaic stone tile.
Yeah.
And I thought about making the outer edges a different color, but I just like the red so much that I went with that.
Red was definitely a good choice for the sun.
Thanks.
I'm having flashbacks to when we were carving pumpkins the other week, and my pumpkin it was really detailed. So when I saw the fine connections that you had in the sun, like, oh my gosh, I was so nervous when I was doing that with my pumpkin. So I can't imagine how delicate that was doing it on paper. Oh my goodness.
And having to press really hard.
Oh my gosh.
So it was fun.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you for that, Christopher.
Sure.
And all right. Oh, I guess I'm up now, right? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I always forget the order of where I am in the order. So what's funny is for this week, it seems that I have two projects, and they both have to do with actually what you guys have made. So Aurora, when you said skeleton leaf, I've always wanted to try skeleton leaves, but I started doing mine a week ago, and I realized I don't have 5 or 6 weeks to also soak it in water, which I found online. So I used the chemicals.
Okay.
And I made just some art paper, some like multimedia paper, and I'm going to be using them as little cards. So I wasn't as meticulous at removing the flesh, but I thought it was really, really cool to be able to put these brown leaves on top of some really thick, bright white paper that will still show through the whiteness of it to show off a bit of pattern. So while it's definitely not as neat as I would like for it to be, I really do like the look, and I covered it with Mod Podge, and I will use them as little cards for people this autumn, so for Thanksgiving. And that was super fun. And then Maggie said she was making something edible for this week. I was like, oh man, this is really, I love making vintage recipes and looking through like vintage cookbooks. So I dug up a 1917 copy on archives.com of the Knox Gelatin Cookbook. And I love weird gelatin recipes. They're the best. So when I thought of Translucence, I thought of Jell-O. And I am at a farmhouse visiting family that was built in 1836. And I was just thinking, man, it would be really cool if I could find a vintage, like old antique gelatin mold somewhere. And I did. Oh, it is a salmon loaf mold. And I have no idea where it came from. There's all kinds of weird stuff here. But anyway, so I made, instead of a salmon flavored mousse mold, I made an orange cream salmon loaf. And right now you will either witness a spectacular failure or an arguable success. Pardon me while I maim my salmon here, because as you can see, the outside is not translucent, but the inside is filled with orange and yellow and red gelatin cubes. So if I can possibly get this a little sliver of it here, we're having this for dessert, so it's gonna be great. Bam.
Nice.
Oh.
It looks yummy.
It does.
All right, so not a perfect failure. Cool. That would have been embarrassing.
What is the cream layer made out of?
Sure. So the cream layer is made with gelatin and heavy whipping cream. So I did an orange Knox gelatin Jell-O brand mixture with cream to make it like that creamsicle orange. Let that set. I put the cream layer in, and then I cut up a bunch of the yellow, orange, and red gelatin blocks that I made before that had set, and dropped them in as the cream was setting. So that way they could sit snugly inside of the belly.
That's awesome.
It was so fun to make, and it married, two of some of my favorite things, which are antique cookbooks and creativity and art. So this was a blast. My family is grateful. I think I didn't make the original salmon mousse recipe. You guys, there are some crazy Jell-O recipes out there.
I think the most complex for a Jell-O recipe my family's ever done is lime Jell-O with banana slices. So yeah.
I think Perfection Salad has like lime gelatin and like cabbage in it or something like that. I don't know. I love food history, so this was such a fun project for me.
I absolutely love those leaves that you made too. Like, because even though they didn't fully become skeletons of the leaves, I think kind of having some of the actual like skin of the leaf still kind of hanging on the edges, it creates like this really pretty outline. And it really caught my eye like that, how it just kind of goes from dark on the outside to light back on the inside.
Yeah, thank you. I was pleased with the way it turned out, even though I was frustrated at the end, as Aurora, I'm sure you know, it was really, really hard and laborious and couldn't scrape all the flesh off.
Yeah, it is.
I tore a bunch of mine, so it's just like, oh, darn it. Yeah. But,
That's, yeah.
I don't know if it's just the quality of my video, but they almost look printed, like they're ink.
Yeah.
Printed them.
Yeah, I was surprised at how thin they turned out to be after the flesh dissolved mostly. It would be just that razor thin. So it does look a little bit like a print. Like you can barely feel it underneath the Mod Podge, which is crazy. But it was a really good sort of meditative project to do. And I realized leaves were a whole lot tougher after 4 hours of simmering in a washing soda solution. Yeah, there we go. All righty. Well, Haley, hello and welcome back.
So this project was a bit of a journey, but I love where I love the destination that it brought me to. So I had this is my project. So I was attempting to make like a sun catcher because I had this glass sort of terrarium thing kind of just laying around, and I decided, wouldn't it be cool if I kind of did like the sun catchers that you did as like kid crafts, where you take like the window paint that's kind of see-through and put it on there. But I couldn't find any window paint, and I didn't want to wait forever for it to come through like online. And so what I did was I originally thought, oh, why don't we use glitter glue, and I could just paint it on the glass because it has like a tinted color and it's glittery and it's pretty. But when I brushed it on, it didn't go on very nice, even though I used like a paintbrush, I tried a foam brush, I tried everything. And the color didn't really stay. It kind of, as it thinned out, the color was lost. And then as it tried to dry, because it's, so angular and kind of on these slopes, it just started dribbling down as it dried, and I might have used too much glue at one time. So I ended up just soaking it in some soapy water until all of the glue came off. It was nice and squeaky clean again. And I tried acrylic paint. I watered down some acrylic paint. I only had 3 colors. I had white, red, and blue, and it was perfect because that was the color palette that I needed. I wanted to go for pinks, blues, and purples. So I thinned out some pink and purple and blue colors that I had mixed into like this pastel kind of color. And I kind of just started swirling them onto the glass. And then once that dried, I used just an opaque white, and I made these little clouds and shooting stars and a little moon. And then I just, to keep the paint from scratching off, I took some Mod Podge like spray glossy sealer and just coated it. So it's all nice and shiny because it started off very matte and chalky looking once I got the acrylic paint to dry. And the spray kind of brought the shine back. So I'm really happy with it. Even if it didn't really do the sun catcher effect that I was hoping to go for. Like I said, I just kind of went with it, and I'm happy with what I ended up with.
It looks really nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's kind of dreamy. That's what I really like about it.
Yeah, the clouds are so nice looking. It looks like it was store-bought. I mean, it's kind of a weird compliment to say it looks so good that it looks like it came from a store, but they do look really, really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I was really happy with that. I just kept putting on layer by layer to kind of make them really solid. I like, they kind of have the fluffiness effect to them because of the texture of the paint as it dried.
Gorgeous. When you first brought it out, my first thought was, oh, I wonder if she put like contact paper or something, or like,
Yeah,
just
what I thought.
pattern sheet.
That's another thing I wanted to try first before the glue idea, because that's where I had seen someone do it online where they used contact paper that was kind of like see-through, but I couldn't find any at any of the craft stores, and some of the vinyl that I did find was just too expensive for me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hurt my wallet with projects. So I went with like glitter Elmer's glue and like $2-3 paints.
And then you just painted them freehand? Just
Yeah, I just took a paintbrush with the watered down paint and I just swirled it on until it all started to dry.
Why wasn't the glue sticking at first?
You know, it seemed to adhere to the glass okay by the time that parts of it started to dry. But I think it's just it took a long time for it to dry because I was laying it on pretty thick. I kept doing layer after layer, and it seemed like maybe some of the glue layers underneath just weren't fully dry, even though they felt like they were to the touch. I even tried coloring some of the glue with some like food coloring to try and bring that color through, and it just wasn't happening. No matter how many layers I tried to do, it just became this gloppy, like still see-through mess. I had to soaked it for like an hour just to make sure I could get all of it off. That's the nice thing with washable glue.
Are you gonna plan to put some air plants in there to hang it up?
I thought that would be a good idea. Yeah, I have some succulents in my window, but I think that maybe air plants might be kind of nice.
Yeah.
You don't have to put dirt in it and anything. You just missed it.
Yeah, because it looked like it's air plants sitting in a cloud when you put one in. They're hanging up your windows.
That would be a good idea. Yeah, I got to find some air plants.
You could order them online.
Yeah.
They have some really huge one too. Have flowers.
So beautiful, and I love that you outlined the journey, as you called it, the process of it, because it's encouraging to know that sometimes things don't go perfectly well the first time that you try them, and I think we experience that weekly with some of the projects that we do.
Yeah.
And it's fun to make something that has to do with the theme, but also is has other demands placed on it, like limitations of supplies or taking a new direction when stuff doesn't work out the way that you think it might. But that's so cool, and I'm so glad that you shared that.
Yep, you just go with the flow and then find what works in the end, and it ended up turning out really nice. I'm kind of almost happier with this. I'm happier with this result than I think I would have been if I was able to make it like a regular sun catcher, because I had so much fun just like swirling on the paint and kind of blending the colors together, so it just kind of fades from one color to the next, and the pretty clouds and stars, it's just so dreamy and cute. Like it made me really happy just looking at it. I keep looking at it, I'm like
I don't know if I can say the same thing about my headless fish lying next to it, but it was we'll eat it up tonight. Wow, you guys, thank you as always for writing so much joy and creativity and inspiration every single week. So I really appreciate it, as always. Next week's theme is wires. That's going to be an interesting one. So I will see some of you next week, and others a different day. Thank you very much.